Okay, so introducing multi-step equations. So remember, one step means there's one operation, two-step means there's two operations that you have to take care of, and multi-step means it could be three or more. So it helps to follow certain steps as you're solving for these, so it's not so overwhelming. So first thing you need to see is if you need to distribute. If you see parentheses and there is a number out in front of the parentheses, and you need to distribute that number by multiplying everything inside the parentheses first, okay? If there's not any distribution, or after you do distribution, you are going to combine like terms. So that means anything with the same last name, okay? Then your goal is to solve for the variable, which it could be x most commonly, or it could be a different letter of the alphabet. Okay, so let's practice. Number one, I still draw a line down that equal sign. My first step is to see if there's any distribution, which there is not a parentheses, so that I can skip that step. So now I'm going to see if I can combine like terms. So normally it's where you see most, I'm going to look at the two different sides, okay? So if I look on the left side, I have to see if I can combine any of the like terms. So is there anything like 9x? Is there anything that has x as well? Positive 1 does not, negative 7x does, okay? And minus 5 does not. So read it from left to right. 9x's minus 7x's is 2x. And then I look for anything that is a number by itself. Positive 1 minus 5 is negative 4. And then if you look on the right side of the equal sign, there's nothing to combine, so I'm just going to bring it down. Now it's become a simpler solving equations problem. This is a two-step. So remember, we follow SADMEP. Okay. We're going to take care of any subtraction and addition. So I cannot do anything with the 2x. The inverse of subtracting 4 is to add 4. So 2x, because these cancel, negative 20 plus 4 is negative 16. Then I divide by 2. A lot of this should be just familiar by now, because these cancel. X equals negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. Okay, if I look at number 2, all right, your first step is to see if you can distribute anything, which means if there's any parentheses involved. So I'm going to draw my line down the equal sign. If you notice, here are a set of parentheses, which means I need to distribute the negative 7 to both values inside the parentheses. Negative 7 times 3a is negative 21a. Negative 7 times negative 1 is positive 7. And since there's nothing on the right side to do, I'm going to bring it down. Then we check to see if you can combine like terms, because you don't want to overlook that step. If I look on the left side, there's nothing to combine. 21 is the only one with a, and 7 is the only number by itself. And 91 on this side is all by itself. So now I'm just going to solve for a. I see multiplication, I see addition, but I need to take care of the addition first. So the inverse of adding 7 is to subtract 7. Negative 21a equals, because those 7 cancel, 91 minus 7 is 84. Okay, then I divide by negative 21 to both sides. A equals 84 divided by negative 21 is negative 4. Okay, if you want to trust your calculator on that one. Number 3, as I keep going. So first steps first is to distribute if you see any parentheses, okay? So if I look on the left side here, I see that there is a set of parentheses, so I need to distribute. But guess what's not including in that? The 4m. So because the 4m is not included, I'm going to bring that down. Be careful here, because I'm not distributing just the 5, I'm distributing negative 5 to both items inside the parentheses. So negative 5 times 3m is negative 15m. Negative 5 times positive 10 is negative 50. And 126 I'm going to bring down because there's nothing on that side to distribute. Then I look to see if I can combine like terms, okay? So if I look on the left side, I have 4m. Is there anything else that has the m attached to it? Negative 15. And the 50 is all by itself, so that one's not included. 4m, now read it left to right, 4m's minus 15m's is negative 11m's. I bring down the negative 50 because there was nothing to combine, and I bring down the 126 because there's nothing on that side to combine it with. Okay, so then it becomes a simple two-step. I have multiplication, I have subtraction, but I need to take care of the subtraction first, so I'm going to do the inverse, which means to add. I have a negative 11m, those cancel, equals 126 plus 50 is 176. I'm going to divide both sides by negative 11. So 176 divided by negative 11 is negative 16. Number 4, okay, there are two sets of parentheses here, so you have to treat them as two different distributing problems. All right, so I'm going to take care of this first set first. I'm going to distribute everything by negative 3. Remember, when you have a variable by itself, there is a 1 in front. So negative 3 times 1k is negative 3k. Negative 3 times negative 8 is positive 24. Okay, take a breath, then we move on. I have a second set of parentheses, which means there is something to distribute. In this case, it looks like nothing, but this is negative 1 right here. Anytime you see just it blank, it's a 1. So negative 1 times 1k is negative 1k. Negative 1 times 5 is negative 5. And yes, that negative is included, so be careful. Now I look for combining, or the 23 comes down because there's nothing to distribute. Now I combine like terms, so I look for anything that looks alike. Negative 3k minus 1k is negative 4k. Positive 24 minus 5 is positive 19. And nothing happens on the right side because there's nothing to combine. Then it becomes a two-step. I can't multiply until I take care of the addition, so I'm going to subtract 19. I have negative 4k equals 23 minus 19 is 4. Then I'm going to divide by negative 4. K equals 4 divided by negative 4 is negative 1. 4 more practice problems just in case we don't go over everything in class. Okay, first I check to see if there's anything to distribute. So if I look on the left side, yes, there is something to distribute, but what's not included is that 10x, so I need to bring it down. I'm going to distribute the 6, but not only the 6, the negative that's attached to it. So negative 6 times 2x is negative 12x. Negative 6 times positive 5 is negative 30. And then 20 over here on the right. I have combined my like terms, so anything that has an x is like terms. 10x's minus 12x's is negative 2x minus 30. Okay, and then there's nothing to combine on the right side, so I bring it down. Now I take care of solving, so I'm going to add 30 to both sides. Negative 2x because these 30's cancel. 20 plus 30 is 50. I divide by negative 2. These negative 2's cancel, so x equals 50 divided by negative 2 is negative 25. Number 6. Okay, I look at anything that I can distribute, which means anything that has a parentheses. So I can distribute the 8 to everything inside the parentheses. 8 times 2w is 16w. 8 times negative 1, be careful, is negative 8. And since this is not involved in the parentheses, I'm going to bring it down. Okay, 8 only gets multiplied to something inside the parentheses, not outside. Negative 116 comes down because there's nothing to distribute. Then I look for like terms. That means anything that has a w here. If you look carefully, be careful because this is negative 4w, not just 4w. Then I read it left to right. 16w's minus 4w's is 12w's. There's nothing to combine with negative 8, so I bring it down. Nothing to combine with negative 116, so I bring it down. Now I'm going to solve, so plus 8 first. I have 12w, because those cancel, equals negative, my brain will not do that, negative 108, okay? Then I'm going to divide by 12 to both sides. Those cancel, so w equals negative 108 divided by 12 is negative 9. Last two questions. First, I take care of any distributing, so what that involves the parentheses. Since 11h is not attached to the parentheses, 11h comes down. You look at this problem and you don't think anything needs to be distributed, but there is a 1 in that space right there. It's actually a -1. So I'm going to distribute -1. -1 times 2h is -2h. -1 times -1 is +1. So please watch that sign. There's nothing to distribute on the right side, so I'm going to bring down 118. Then I look for anything that I can combine. So 11h's minus 2h's is 9h's. There's nothing to combine with +1, so I'm going to bring it down. And nothing to combine with 118, so I'll bring it down. Then I solve by subtracting first. 9h equals, because those cancel, 118 minus 1 is 117. I'm going to divide both sides by 9. Hopefully you don't need to write as big as I am. And that is 13. Last but not least is number 8. So don't freak out because you see a fraction, because it's simple math, especially with the calculator. First, I take care of any distributing, which means are there any parentheses? This one does have a set of parentheses, so I'm going to multiply 1/2 times everything inside. If you think carefully, you can do this in your head. If not, use your calculator, okay? 1/2 times 10, half of 10 is 5x's. 1/2 times -2, or 1/2 of -2 is -1. If you're not sure, use your calculator with fractions. It does not apply to the plus 3x there because it is not inside the parentheses, so I just bring it down. -25 also comes down because it doesn't have any distributing on the right side. Then I look for like terms, the x's. 5x plus 3x is 8x. There's nothing to combine with -1, so I'm going to bring it down. -25 has nothing to combine with, so I bring it down. Then I solve by adding 1 to both sides. I have 8x because those cancel. -25 plus 1 is this is why I draw the line, because equals -25 plus 1 is -24. Then I divide both sides by 8. -24 divided by 8 is -3.